Welcome to the Requel pitch with Tyler. And this one, I'm not in the car, nor in my studio. I'm outside in the great weather that is. And this pitch is coming from something that's kind of been in the back of my head. And it's interesting because it's really easy to do pitches for movies based on characters that we all kind of comment on. And everyone knows, yes, I'm a big comic book fan and everything, but this one's kind of been hanging out, okay? And this character, it's the DC character, and this pitch comes from the fact that this character has not been properly represented in live action. We've had 2 live action versions of this character. And today we're pitching for the DCU Green Arrow. Yeah, that's right. Green Arrow needs his own movie. I think the character plays more towards James Gunn's sensibilities as, an executive producer and studio head than some of the others. Now, first of all, we've had live action Green Arrow both on Smallville and on Arrow. Now, both of these versions were kind of used as substitutes for Batman, more so with Arrow. And that's really, I think, the problem is we see that, we can't use Batman, we'll just use Green Arrow. So there's a big strike. And both of them have not really got the tone. Now, I feel like Justin Hartley played a closer comic book Oliver Queen than Stephen Amell, because there's more. Oliver is more of a playful character. He's not as serious. He's smart. He's intelligent, but he's not Batman. He doesn't have the dedication and everything and the seriousness of just being completely to his mission. And Oliver is more fallible. He messes up a lot, both with his family and his relationships. And I think that was played more by Stephen Amell, which Oliver gets around. Let's be honest. He's political. He's leftist. And I feel like there's a strong Green Arrow trilogy. First one with the introduction. The second one with him losing all of his money. Because I like the idea. Green Arrow is much more of a street level character. That's why he always kind of, when he's a part of the Justice League, he's always kind of this voice of the common man, which I think is important. I think keeping him on the streets and making him more street level crime is the way to go. And then the third arc, if a third film, would be Mayor, where he's the mayor of the city. All that is comic sound. And I feel like the DC universe needs Green Arrow because he's not a character that everyone knows, and he's never been represented in a film. He's always been regulated to television. You have to find that nice, like one of the best arcs is when he lost all his money and he's living in the woods, and he's very much tapping into that Robin Hood sensibility. Now, how I would do it is I'll give you my quick overview of Green Arrow and his trilogy. Ready? Green Arrow Part 1 opens with our introduction to whatever villain we choose. It's not going to be Merlin or a Dark Archer. Okay? No, that is off the table. It's going to be very much just street criminals. Maybe Brick. Maybe some others that we pull from the DC canon. Onomatopoeia seems to be something that's kind of come up a couple times, and that's one of those characters that crosses over in different levels. The Royal Flush Gang would be really cool to tap into. It's another one of those DC characters that we've also seen represented in Arrow, the TV series, because they pretty much did everybody. Even Batman villains. God, that just... okay, but I'm not going to go there. But just kind of that. And we have Oliver Queen come back from the island. We open with that, and then the next scene is him being discovered, coming back from the island. And the island story is spread out through three films, kind of adding to and telling us that backstory. He always hints at it. He comes back, much like in Batman 89, where Batman comes back full Batman. We're not doing the Batman Begins style with Green Arrow. No, what we're doing is we're going to start with him slowly building up and being this person. Now, his father is dead. I like that from Arrow. That is something we're going to keep. We're going to keep that his mother's alive, and by the end of the first film, his mother will die. And that's just, and then he completely takes over Queen Industries. Part of it, he comes back and he's running Queen Industries, but his mother's there as well. And he's an only child. I'm not going to do the TV show Thea now. But that is kind of where we're starting. And I think we need to have Dinah, Black Canary, right off the back. She has had a film. She was in Birds of Prey and Misused. But there is a relationship that needs to be there from the beginning. And it needs to be a comic accurate rock musician, Dinah, Black Canary. They teased us in Smallville with it, and then he ended up with Chloe. And then in Arrow, they made like 3 different versions actually of Black Canary, and he ends up with Felicity. No, we need to have the relationship that is Oliver and Dinah, and it's back and forth where that they're struggling in and out of the relationship through the whole series. And we have them really good in the first one, and then something happens, Oliver slips up in something, and they break up. And then he tries to rekindle it in the second one, but then they get back together in the third movie. Because that is their relationship, his pretty bird that he loves. But Oliver has his faults. He struggles with alcohol, he struggles with women. And that's who he is. That even in his quest and being a good person, he doesn't completely lose the struggles that he has. But he's also fun. And, if I talked about this before on the podcast over on Krypton Report, but I kind of been thinking about who, people throwing around actors that could be a great Oliver Queen. I think that all of these could be a great Oliver Queen. First, Austin Butler would be a great Oliver Queen. Charlie Hunnam was everybody's talk about it, but he didn't want to do it, and he cast it off. And as great as he would be, we're past that. Glenn Powell, because everybody wants Glenn Powell right now. And the one my kind of out there is, if you've watched Netflix, and is Tom Hooper, who played Space Boy Luther on there. I think he'd be an awesome Oliver Queen, actually. So those are my quick 3, right? I want, like I said, an origin film, but it's very much played into Green Arrow, where we see, he's got the gadgets, but it's a little bit more. In that first one, he's using Queen Consolidated Tech. And in the second movie, we do one of my favorite stories that was in the comics towards the latter part of the New 52. And we'd have to tweak it a little bit, but it is it was written by Jeff Lemire. It's basically the Outsiders, but not but it's about how there is an Arrow clan, a Axe clan. And that's the story that we cultivate for the second film, as these different clans start descending on Star City. Now, in my story, it'll be pitched, Star City will be kind of this mix of Seattle and Star City. They're kind of one and the same instead of being separate, because we know for a while they tried to do this thing where Green Arrow went to Seattle. Star City basically is Seattle in the DC universe. I like that the DC universe uses fictitious cities. And that's going to be this. And then what happens is these clans show up, problems start arising, and we find out that Oliver's dad had a daughter with another woman, and she has actually been part of this and is leading the Arrow clan, who's there to challenge Oliver for leadership and dominance, which is Imiko of the Arrow clan. That's where we take the second story. Now, also in the second story is where Oliver helps a struggling kid who's battling with drugs. And that's our Roy Harper. And that's our Speedy. But I think we'll ditch the Speedy and go more for sidekick into Arsenal. We'll make a joke about Red Arrow, but he'll be more of the Arsenal. And that's where we'll go as Oliver takes someone under his wing. And we see a broken person who's lost his mom, who's losing his company, who has an evil sister. That's your second arc. Your third, like I said, is where he starts to repair his relationship with Dinah. Dinah opens a business, which is the Sherwood Florist. And Oliver kind of co-owns it with her. And Oliver's comfortable with losing his money. He's gotten to the point where he doesn't need his money to define him. And we see, I think, part of his mission, he still continues to be Green Arrow. He just has problems now because he can't do the tech side and have all the expensive gear, like the protective armor. And we see that he does have some money that he hid away that he's using for his mission. But we also see his struggles where he'll use arrows and then he'll recollect his arrows, because he is now more of a basic crime fighter. And he gets to the point where he starts to run for mayor. And that's part of the arc of him getting elected mayor because of what he's going to do to clean up Star City, because he sees the corruption. And it's like he can't just save the city as he tried with his company and he lost. He tried as Green Arrow and he's making a difference. But as mayor, what can he do? And it really is, about the heart of the city and Oliver's battle. We see him as the Emerald Archer, the fun, and how he tries. But we see him working with kids who are struggling. Sometimes Batman was always in the shadows and it's mythic, but Green Arrow is someone that the people would see and work. And it's time for the Emerald Archer to shine. And we would have serious story, but you can have with a playful tone. And I think Arrow got too dark, and that's not Green Arrow. Even in the comics, even when they did the Longbow Hunters, Green Arrow was never about being really dark. And, in the comics now, it's saturated. Jeez, I can't talk. See, I like being raw with you people. With the Arrow family, which you can't just jump to, okay? And in the New 52, I don't think the way they did it wasn't a great launching point for Green Arrow, because he very much wasn't part of the other characters. So starting somewhere in the middle with current comics and just Green Arrow in history would be fun. He is more of the playboy than Bruce, because he's not playing a part. He's Oliver all the time. Green Arrow is just kind of something he does. It's not a whole different persona. It's still just Oliver in a mask. Now, the biggest factor we have playing around here is the fact that you don't know how he plays into the Justice League or the other world of the DC universe. But I do feel that there's enough in this pitch to start to carve out a solid Green Arrow film franchise, or a film. He's a great character, that deserves his own time to shine, and to not just be a Batman wannabe. We know that they're doing a Lanterns TV series, and I think that some of the best stories of Green Arrow was the hard traveling heroes of him and Green Lantern. So my quick pitch for a series, if they wanted to do Green Arrow as a more max leveled series, is kind of the idea of the hard traveling heroes, but Black Canary and Green Arrow, and they own the Sherwood florist business, and that's where Oliver is right now in his life, as he's moved away from being the billionaire playboy and everything. He sold the company, and he just wanted to live a quiet life with Black Canary, and she's retired maybe from the rock star, but they're actually just traveling, but they work out of their home base, which is the Sherwood florist, and they travel around, and it's kind of a road trip show style with these two heroes who are kind of repairing their relationship. And the biggest thing they need to do is they had to make those changes in their life because it's on and off again, and that's why she stepped off the road and he sold his company and stepped away from that lifestyle, and they're living in a smaller time. But that is my discussion and pitch for Green Arrow, a film that I really would like to see because I really do like the characters.